Let me just begin by apologizing for being late. There's only so much we can do when the weather intervenes. But I'm nonetheless happy to be here. I want to begin by thanking God for being here, which is customary for me to do. And thank you. And also, it's really a privilege for me to be standing here in front of this audience at this year's InBuffs convention or conference or gathering, and to be invited by an organization, as far as I'm concerned, that for years has stood for the unification and preservation of the Black experience. And I think an organization that seeks also to uplift the souls, the hearts, the minds, the language, the behavior, of our brothers and sisters throughout. So this is truly a privilege for me, and I'm super excited because according to the statistics, a lot of people, would say that I'm not supposed to be here, in the sense that, I grew up in the dirty undergarments of American society, so to speak. I grew up with neurological disorder that had been misdiagnosed for many years. I grew up without a father, grew up with a single parent. I grew up uneducated. Yes, I got a diploma. Yes, I went to college for 2 years, but for me there's a huge difference in terms of between making the grade, so to speak, and being able to make sense out of life, or going to class and going through the subjects and passing those courses, but being able to connect the dots, going from one event to the next event, being able to connect the dots beyond something that just involves me or helps me as an individual, but that helps us as a people. So I'm very excited to be here, and also I would be remiss if I didn't reach back in history and honor those extraordinary and pioneering persons that preceded us, regardless if we shared the same faith or not, or shared the same politics or not. As long as they were anti-oppression, right, and for freedom, regardless of those things, as far as I'm concerned, we share the same faith. And those people who inspired movements, those people who inspired us directly and indirectly, and even though it's an exhaustive list, the Thomas Sankaras, the Nkrumahs, the Patrice Lumumbas, the Marcus Garveys, the Malcolm X's, the Martin Luther Kings, all those movements, whether we're talking about the Civil Rights Movement, whether we're talking about SNCC, you name it. Even, looking at the Black Panther, and speaking of a person like Thomas Sankara, for example, it was said about him that he was impatient when it came to injustice. And I know the theme of this conference, or the theme of this event is Black mass movements and the road to liberation. And I was thinking about it on the plane in terms of that being on that road to liberation, so to speak. And it made me think of Huey P. Newton. He has a book out, older book called The Revolutionary Suicide.
Right.
And in the book, he talks about once you embark upon this journey, of trying to establish freedom for yourself, there's going to be obstacles. And I'm just paraphrasing. There's going to be obstacles because there's a system at work that's intent on seeing you, or to continue to have you subjugated and persecuted and oppressed. And he said, once you embark upon this journey to freedom, you have to understand something, that you're going to be a doomed man from the start. And I really believe that. And he goes on to say that this doesn't mean that we have a death wish. He said it means quite the opposite, that we have such a strong desire to live, to be free and to live with human dignity, that the existence without it is impossible. Let me say that again. He said, this doesn't mean this pursuit of striving for freedom, right? Of fighting for the right to be a human being, to exist as a human being. It doesn't mean that when we say, or when he said this revolutionary suicide, that it means that we have a death wish. He said, but it means that we have such a strong desire to be free and to live with human dignity that the existence without it is impossible. And so, yeah, I really think I was thinking about just the topic on the